So today we have our very first guest, who's one of my favorite people ever. It's Miss Shayla Varnado from Black Girls Wine.
Hello, hello. I am so happy to be here. Talking is one of my favorite things, so I'm excited to talk with you.
Talking and drinking wine is one of my favorite things.
Wine has to be a
So,
part of the conversation, like always. If it was not so early here, I would have a drink in my hand right now because this morning has felt like a day.
and I'm really sorry that I am going to be drinking without you because it's 4:30 here where I am.
I'm so jealous. It's okay. I'm supposed to be having dinner with a friend tonight, and I'm really looking forward to it because I need a drink.
Yeah, drink one for me. Oh, I'll probably still be drinking at that time.
Cheers! What are you drinking? Can we
Cheers!
talk about what you're drinking? What are you drinking?
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. I almost forgot. Today's wine is a Primitivo from Puglia. I'm saying that wrong. Like the Italians are gonna be like, "What's wrong with you?" Today's wine is a Primitivo from
Mm-hmm.
Puglia. I don't know if you've ever been to Puglia. It's a region in South Italy, southern Italy, and this is a Primitivo. And it's actually one of my favorite wines. So cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Introduce yourself, Miss Shayla. Tell us about you. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so Shayla Varnado here. I am a wife, I'm a mommy, I'm a believer. God is a big part of every decision that I make, even when I am not being obedient in making it. He works all things for my good, and I'm grateful for that. I am a wine lover, and that is how Black Girls Wine got started. I wanted to explore more of the wine world, and I wanted to do it in the company of those who look like me, those who enjoy wine as much as I do, and those who are interested in learning more about wine. And so I started to take people on this journey, eventually launching a international society. We had members around the world. I am focused on just continuing to connect with wine lovers everywhere.
You know what? Just in case it froze and we missed some of that, let me
Mhm.
just reiterate what you said. So you have an international society now. Is that correct?
We did. I ran it from 2019 to 2022. We ended up shutting the society down in December. Honestly, I felt like God was calling me to motherhood in that moment. There was nothing that I could do. I had just had a baby earlier that year, and my hands were so full, and I didn't have the capacity to both run the organization and be a full-time mom. We hadn't found childcare yet. I hadn't really found my rhythm. Um, and, our baby was a beautiful surprise. So that kind of was an adjustment too. So life was lifing. So I had to shut our society down. One day I pray that, it'll exist again. We'll see.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful though. Motherhood was calling. Shayla, you trying to make me
It was,
cry?
listen, it was a really big life change, even from like drinking wine because my desires changed. I wanted to be able to breastfeed as long as I could, so that meant cutting out the drinking for me. I know people say you can do strips and all that stuff. Honestly, I like things to be simple, and that just seemed really complicated to me. So like I really gave up drinking for almost 2 years, oh, longer than 2 years, because I was pregnant, and then I breastfed him 18 months.
I
18.
love it. Love to see it. Love to hear it. And I totally get it too. Oh my God, 2+ years of no wine. Lord help me.
Look, it was a really big commitment for me, and now on the other side of that, my baby has turned 2, and we are rocking and rolling. We have a wonderful child care provider. She's amazing, and just having the support to be able to get back into creating content and connecting with my community has been really, really just, it's been invigorating. It feels like, I'm getting back to myself so every time I pour a glass, and that feels really good. It is a moment of reconnection to what's important to me. It's a moment of recentering, even though I'm a completely different woman. It is beautiful to be able to refill my glass and know that I am also literally refilling my cup.
You and I first connected when I was still living in London.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was just doing Come Wine with Me, which was my unserious web series
Mm-hmm.
about, drinking wine and complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple concept. There's always something to complain about. So then you reached out to me. I think you reached out to me, and
Yes.
we connected that way. And actually, it was kind of cool. It was really like I never thought of myself as being alone when it came to a Black girl and wine. But
Mm-hmm.
once you really think about it, there really weren't a lot of spaces. And there were times when I really, really think about it, there were times where like non-Black people made me feel like I was some kind of a unicorn for being like, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't
Yep.
quite belong. Like, one of those, what do you know about wine type
Yep.
deals.
Yep.
And but it wasn't until after I met you that I started seeing that. I just thought, oh, because I was doing Italian wine. I was doing wine tastings. I was hosting wine tasting events in London, and so I was learning mostly about Italian wines. And I just
Mm-hmm.
thought, oh, the Italians are so snobby when it comes to their wine. No, no, it wasn't. It wasn't just that. It went beyond them being Italian and being protective of their wines. It was like, what are you
Yeah.
doing here, Black girl?
Yep.
So yeah.
And I
So when you
think,
came along and we go ahead, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna chime in and say for me it was I was working in corporate at the time, and so it was interesting to be in this world where I am one of few by day, and then also going to drink wine or going to vineyards on the weekend, and also be one of few by evening, and having similar experiences in both environments where it's hi, yeah, welcome, but there's truly not a genuine interest in connecting over wine with me as opposed to the other people who are in the room. And that's part of what made it so important to me to create this space for Black women who enjoy wine and want to explore the world of wine and have a good time, because it's nice when you're in the company of people who value who you are, and when you're not, it's very obvious. And so usually when people ask me why Black girls wine, I'm kind of like, because why not? Because we deserve to be in spaces where we are celebrated, where we are wanted, and where people are interested in who we are. Because at the end of the day, we're all just people. But if my skin color is what's going to block you from getting to know me as a person, then that means I need my own safe space.
Ooh, yeah, that's perfect. That's so perfectly well said, Shayla, for real. And I don't know if you did it intentionally or if maybe I'm just hearing it because that's what I want to hear. But you're like, why Black girls wine? And then you said, why not? Was it wine not or was it why not?
you know, and the goal is for it to be both, right? Like, why not? Or why not? Because I mean,
Exactly.
it's the world we're in, and wine is so much fun, and it should be so inviting. And too many people, historically, the people who have access to the making of the vineyards and the sipping of the grapes, have not made it so.
Mm, true. But speaking of the people who are making of the vineyards and sipping of the grapes, I've noticed that in these years you have grown and your community has grown. What's happening? Like I see now on, I think because of my connection to you on Instagram, I'm now seeing these people, these Black women, the Black owned vineyards, Black owned wine labels. It's a Ray got a wine label now. Like I feel like you've opened up a world for me, personally. So can you tell me more about like I guess your journey after we connected? Like how did you find everybody
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, so since we since launching Black Girls Wine back in 2016, I feel like the world has really opened up and more Black people are telling their story, and they're focused on telling their story as Black winemakers, Black vintners, Black vineyard owners. And I think it's really important. Too often, we will pigeonhole ourselves into being one thing, whether it's just winemaker or whether it's just a Black woman. But we are all multifaceted, and there's so many sides to us and so many different things that make us glow. And I think it's important to tap into all of those things. So my journey has been amazing. I've gotten to meet some amazing people in this industry, people of color, people who are not of color but are very welcoming and supportive. And my goal has just been to help us all get more connected. The intersectionality of who we are and what we like to drink is part of what makes sharing space so special.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. When I saw you growing over the years, uh, I was just so like, oh, I wish I was back in America because I want to be a part of that and meet all those amazing other Black winos. I shouldn't say winos, but all those Black wine lovers. And so I really do love that you've done this and you've had so many amazing experiences. You did mention that, sometimes people are pigeonholed, but now we've melded the two, and we are like, this is this amazing idea, this reality for us. But what are some, like, are you? Yeah, I want to ask, what are all of the moving parts of Black Girls Wine? Because I know there's a couple different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Um, it is all about retreats and experiences. That is what I am focused on. I am, look, secretly planning to eventually launch my own wine basics class, something really fun that people can enjoy who are new to wine and want to get to, know a little more. I'll put like a pocket guide in there, and there'll be some videos and just kind of talking people through the really fun and engaging beginnings to learning wine and getting into wine. And my goal is to make it in AAV, African American Vernacular, so that it feels
Hey,
extremely relatable to my audience. So,
wow. And you know what? That's so funny you said AAV, because I when I was doing the wine tasting event in London, that's what I tried to give, a little bit, just a touch. But I
yep.
think it was no, it didn't. No, because it was a combination of being an American with an American accent, and then also talking black, as some of them people tried to say. It was too much for them, so I had to scale it back and be very like. I had to be cute about it. Like I would say things like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this primitivo is quite intense. This is like the wine you have an affair with, like a hot, weekend affair, but then during the week, stuff like that." I had to be cute like that. And people preferred that to, I don't know, to what I would normally, how I would normally speak. So I would
Hmm.
definitely love to see and hear how you bring all this, you know what I'm saying? Like how you bring all these parts
Yeah.
together. And this is going to be awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, but you also have a podcast, right? I think you have a podcast where you
I
actually
did, but
review
I
wine.
don't anymore. So the
Oh,
podcast
okay.
is still available to like be listened to. And my goal with the podcast was to have a glass with some really amazing people of color. Like, what are you doing? What are you up to? What are you sipping? What are you drinking? What's your story? Tell me more. And it not only be people in the wine industry, but just Black people doing amazing things around the world. Because I think it's always fun to be able to have that platform. And I feel like we had, or what was the makings of it in the early 90s, right? We had our BET, MTV featured, hip hop music and stuff like that. And I think what is missing in a lot of mainstream and media is people telling our stories. And so now we have different
Mm.
channels and different, outlets and stuff with that happening. But I mean, it's still there, and it may come back eventually. But right now, I am solely focused on retreats and creating really fun experiences that people can drop in on, and being able to help people who are into wine learn a little bit more about it.
I would love to, I guess, speak more, just a little bit more about the vernacular English, a very relatable way that we speak, because
Mm-hmm.
there have been times, I'll say, for me personally, where I have been in rooms with a certain kind of black people.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? Like the ones who are like, I'm one of the good ones, or I can only be the only one. And the way they talk about wine is like, okay, I can play the role. You know what I mean? I kind of have
Yeah.
to. I can play the role of this person who's like, it's so good. It hasn't been decanted yet. I don't know. Oh, this is,
Yes. Yes.
I can give you that, but it's exhausting. And then at the end of the day, you don't feel connected to those other black people. What
Right.
will you, what will you do? How do you sort of, I don't want to say filter them out or exclude them, but how do you create an environment where I guess they can be who they are, but without making everybody else feel bad? Like, how are you going to facilitate this?
For me, it has been about being myself. I mean, I went live for 4 years straight, and I had people in every stage of their wine journey who would engage and interact with my content. And for me, it really is about being yourself. Yes, I have my, West at level 2. I'd love to do level 3, but I don't think I have the capacity to study in this season. But it's just like, I have the correct training and terminology, okay? Like I did extremely well on the test. I have the knowledge, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily, in every room, find it appropriate to use it. I think it's similar to how I own a digital marketing agency, right? And one thing that we teach or we intend to have to teach our clients is that when it comes to industry jargon, which is what a lot of formally trained and certified wine lovers use. You can say, I'm going to use decanted because you use it as an example, and it's a really good example. Um, Somebody who's never gotten into wine will be like, oh, decanted. I don't, wow, she really knows her stuff. Girl, that just means the wine got to breathe. That's it. It means it got to breathe. It was tied up in that bottle and it just got to breathe a little bit, right? And it's about
Let it
taking
breathe.
what feels so stuffy and so, oh my gosh, and making it something really, really relatable, and making it something that's like, you know what? Um, this is just like how grandma used to, soak her meats overnight before the holidays so that the flavor would seep in. With wine, it's the opposite, right? We are taking it out of the bottle so that the flavor can come out because it was nice and tight in there. It really didn't have much room to move. And when the oxygen hits the wine, the aromatics really open up and you get these really beautiful notes, and the wine is able to kind of expand, so to speak, and you really get more flavor on your palate. Like being able to explain it in a way that connects with who people are, so that even if you prefer to use the word decant because you've studied and you've gone to all these tastings, or you just feel like you're this wine pro, whether you use that word or we are taking the time to make it relatable. A lot of times, even when I describe wine, I don't, if I will blend both my knowledge and who I am. So I'm very much like, oh, I'm getting a lot of red fruit on the nose. It reminds me, right? So I'm speaking in what the industry will accept as describing the wine notes, but then I'm going to break that down and apply it to something that is common to the African American experience. A lot of us grew up in church. A lot of us grew up going to church with either our grandparents, or if we went with our parents, there were older ladies in the church. And what do old ladies always have at church? Candy. They got the candy. They're passing down the candy down the row so that the kids will be quiet. They have something to entertain themselves. And you know what these red notes remind me of? That strawberry candy that Grammy used to dig out of her bag and give us. It was such a pungent strawberry flavor. And that is exactly what I'm getting in this glass. So now I've been able to take what I've learned, right, from my studies in wine, but make it something that someone else can connect to. And to me, that's what a lot of people who are in the industry miss, because they say they're trying to make wine relatable, but they'll say something like, "Oh, we have to decant the wine, and that just means let it breathe." And it still is like, why does it have to breathe? Like what? Like there's not enough explanation, and they really don't know how to make the conversation approachable by making it relatable. So for me, with my class, my goal is to literally be myself. And even when I'm hosting retreats or experiences, when I'm in spaces with people who are at different levels in their journey, I want to make sure everyone feels welcome and feels comfortable, no matter how much they know about wine.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And congratulations on being WSET. I always say WSET, or I spell it out.
I
But
usually say WSET, or people say Westset, or I think it's like a million different ways. Girl, I don't think it matters.
okay, cool. Because I was saying WSET, and my husband kept saying what, and I'm like, am I stupid? What's going on? I'm looking at the letters. They're all WSET. But
I have heard it
congratulations.
every way. And so usually I'll tell people like I'm WSET certified, and they're like, what is that? So I don't think
They
it
get
matters.
it. They'll
Yeah.
catch on. No, I agree. We understand. And congratulations on being level 2. That's amazing.
Thank you. Look, I want to do level 3. I'm like, I was nervous about it, and now I feel like I can do it, but I have so much to juggle. I'm like, I'll do that later.
No longer a podcast. Podcast may be coming back, but we're doing hosting events, travel events. Did you? I thought there was a paid community going on before. I don't know. That sounds crass to say it like that. But do you have a community where there's like exclusive content, or am I like 2 years too late? 3 years too late for this?
No, yeah. Originally, there have been many different renditions, I will say, over the years. For me, Black Girls Wine was about exploring what would work, like what would work, excuse me, for connecting this community and keeping the community connected, and doing it in a way that is true to me. I'm a work from home wife. What I always say, I'm a work from home wife, and I'm juggling business and I'm juggling everything else. And so it definitely was like, what does it look like for me to do something that will help keep this community connected? So I do have a subscription on Instagram. Everyone can sign up, and I am going to put some exclusive content there. I want to start doing more exclusive content there. And so we'll see. Look, I'm asking everyone, like, what do you want to see? That kind of thing. And so it'll be a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of like what I'm drinking now and that kind of stuff, just sharing. Sometimes my husband doesn't drink wine unless I give him something that is more fitting for his palate. He is still growing. Look, he drinks a lot of other stuff, so I do actually drink other stuff as well sometimes.
Hmm. I was gonna say your husband has what the elites would call an immature
Mhm.
palate.
So yeah, but it's
Okay.
definitely an immature palate at times. But he's very supportive of mine, so that's all that matters to me.
So we've covered pretty much all the moving parts of Black Girls Wine and everything, which is awesome. I hope you come to Italy one day. We can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We can figure out how to get these black women over here to Italy, to Tuscany especially, or the Emilia Romagna region. But for me, come to Tuscany and let's do something here.
I am
I would love it.
totally down. I would love that.
So we'll sort it out. I feel like it's entirely possible. I guess I kind of want to move on to a little bit more about you. You've already been really forthcoming, which is super cool. Thank you for sharing. But
Yeah.
there's more. I know there's more to you. There's more to you than Black Rose Wine, than being a mom and a wife. Like, who is Shayla? I would love it if you were vulnerable with me a little bit and shared an experience maybe having to do with a friend or a work experience, even dating, that sort of was the, what do you say, the inciting moment that sort of shifted your perspective, your life, your journey, or that kind of shaped who you are in general, like a core memory. Can you share with me?
Oh, that's such a good question. Look, it definitely makes you dig deep to think about like, what do I share? What was that moment? I would probably say thinking about my journey, my professional journey. I realized I was called to entrepreneurship. I always wanted to I always knew I was called to serve and help people in some way. I got into corporate America and I realized this ain't it. Like, I can't be myself here. This is not a safe space. And eventually, even had run-ins with different managers who didn't look like me, and they always ended up the ones in trouble because, hello, you're being racist. Get yourself together. Um, and so it was interesting. My corporate career really is, or my corporate journey is really what pushed me towards entrepreneurship. I founded my first business in 2011. And I was really blessed, though, throughout my corporate career. So I also would like to say that I had some really great jobs. And one of my favorite jobs was being a property adjuster for Nationwide Insurance. So I actually climbed roofs for a living for 3 years, which was a lot of fun. It was very different. Climbing roofs was very much like you'd never expect it from a woman like me because I'm so feminine and girly and just, but I did it. I wore the khakis, I wore the shirt, and I climbed roofs, and it was a lot of fun. And that was 3 years of like deep self-discovery for me, and it was very meaningful because I traveled across the country and I worked claims all over the U.S. And all of that alone time really gave me an opportunity to discover who I was, what I like, and really learn to appreciate me. I like my own company. I don't need anyone's support, help, or like presence in order to enjoy myself. And I think that's a really important place to get to. And it's something that I still crave even now. Like I love my alone time. I love traveling alone. I don't have to be on anybody's agenda but my own. Um, and I think that's okay. I feel like a lot of times when you're a mom or you're a wife, people assume this role and that everyone should fit in it. But I think it's okay to still be yourself. And I think it's okay to still enjoy yourself and your company. I love my husband to death and I love my baby and I wouldn't trade them for the world, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I also love me. And sometimes I like being able to just sit and be with me and read a book and do some writing and just enjoy myself. So I would say probably, look, the Shayla behind the businesses and the wine and everything is just a woman who enjoys nature, enjoys being by the beach, that kind of nature, though, specifically, and a woman who enjoys her own time and values it greatly.
Oh my gosh, I love it. See, if we'd grown up together or lived in the same state, I feel like we would have been best friends because that is my mental. I love the beach. I love being alone. I love my alone time. I like myself, and I think you like yourself too.
Hmm.
That's what you're telling us. I don't know. I don't so I love that you have that mentality. I love that even after becoming a mom, you're like, but I'm still Shayla. Go girl.
Hmm.
I love it. Let's do this right quick. Because I know you're gonna have to go soon. I don't want to keep you too long. So this is a question that sort of popped into my head this week, and I thought, oh, I'm going to present this
Hmm.
to Shayla and see what she says. So Shayla, as you said, you
Hmm.
you like yourself, you're confident, you have an entrepreneurial mindset and spirit and everything. So you've been doing this all your life. You're successful, and everything else you're doing, you're growing, you're getting more attention online and from other people, and expanding. You've got
Hmm.
eyes on you, Shayla. Where am I going with this? Some of those people aren't supportive. I'm sure you have run into them from time to time. Some of them are watching you with like that envious evil eye. Some are competing with you for no reason, even though you're not aware of them. They're one-sided competition. And some might even be actively trying to sabotage you. How did you handle it? How are you handling this? What do you do to deal with it?
It is all by the grace of God. I know that for me, I was called to this industry to be a light, to shine light, to reflect light, and to offer light to those who love wine, who crave connection, who crave genuine goodness in their lives. God led me here. I grew up in a family that never drank anything. I didn't have my first drink until college, like most people, and it wasn't my freshman year. It was actually like pretty much my junior year. And I did not see my parents drink until after I graduated, and really when I started Black Girls Wine. I'm here to be a space where people can feel liberated. And I know that I've had some really negative things and nasty things said about me. Whole podcast of people canceling and signaling me out or whatever.
What?
It's been interesting as some people have just talked really bad about me, and my experience has been with people mostly who look like me. And the interesting thing is, to me, I'm the kind of person that if I see you doing something and there's anything I can do to help, I'll pull you closer. And I've always been open to that. Always. No matter who it was or who was reaching out. A good friend of mine was like, hey, you should study, WSET, and then once you study, just kind of get the basics, especially since you're like going live and talking about wine, and that way you'll have some language that you can share, but also you'll have the knowledge, you'll be more aware. And I really appreciated her feedback as opposed to, everybody talking about me behind my back and going to say stuff. At the end of the day, I think I've seen the quote quite a few times online, but it's like, you can't expect people to treat you the way you would treat them. And I've had to be okay with that. And honestly, like, listen, the Lord is my keeper. That is the only person I'm worried about pleasing ever. You can't please everyone. Everyone's not going to like my brand. Everyone's not going to want to partner with it or interact with it. And for me, I try to focus on the people that love it here, that love the space, that have been accepting of me as I've grown on my journey. I had to grow just like everyone else. And just because I'm brave enough to grow out loud doesn't make me less of a wine lover, doesn't make me less of a Black woman, doesn't make me less of a Black wine lover.
Can you say that one more time? That was amazing. Because you're willing to grow out loud. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. Just because I have been willing to grow out loud doesn't make me less of a wine lover or a Black woman or a Black wine lover. I think the people who criticized me in the beginning, now a lot of them have nothing to say. They're very critical of each other, and we're human. We're going to make mistakes. 20 years ago, you couldn't get on camera and talk about anything to the world. And now you can. And sometimes it makes you nervous because it's still very fresh and new. And sometimes you might forget something because you're also trying to focus on making sure people can see you and your internet is working. And I think that there's so much out there. And just like I want people to forgive me for being human, I forgive people for being human too.
Aw. Once again, you're trying to get me emotional. Maybe it's the wine. I don't know. But that's so lovely. And you know what? It's so nice to run into other like-minded people and have that reminder that it is okay to flounder, to make mistakes, to fail in certain endeavors. And I haven't failed. I found 1,000 ways that didn't work or whoever, I forget the guy who said that, but
I love that. I love that saying.
I think it was Thomas Edison. I don't know, but he probably didn't even say it. I thought it was a black person who said it and he stole it. But the point is, is that, yeah, I didn't fail, but I have to give myself that pep talk. Even when I started mulling wine, I was like, oh, I had this and that, and I failed, blah, blah, blah. No, I haven't failed. I just found, 1,000 ways that didn't work. And I love that you said this. You grew out loud, and it's just, a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people just aren't strong enough to do that, or they're not built that way. And I just love that you overcame. I love that you overcame that. But Shayla, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that anyone would ever have like a moment of against you. You're so lovely. Like, it's crazy. I could see them having a problem with me. I talk out the side of my neck. But I can see people like talking about me on a podcast. I talk at the side of my neck. I'm irreverent. I'm whatever. But you're so lovely. What is wrong with people?
Well, thank you. People, listen, people be peopling. That's what I say. People be peopling. Girl, I don't even know. But it's okay. I can't be everybody's cup of tea. That's why I prefer champagne.
I love it, but I'm glad you kept your wits about you. I'm glad you sort of, I guess, surpassed those haters. I hate using that word hater, but like, those people who doubted you or were jealous. But, Shayla, as lovely as you are, we are not infallible. I'm lovely too, but I am not infallible. And I have had my moments of jealousy toward other people. Like, I know how I deal with mine, but in those moments where you felt like about somebody else, in whatever capacity, but I'm thinking mostly about social media. What have you done? How have you dealt with yourself? How have you checked yourself?
So jealousy is not something that I have struggled with. I struggle more so with my internal dialogue, and I'll tell you why that is. I haven't struggled with jealousy because my mother always told us, don't bother being envious of what someone else has or who they are, because you don't know what they had to sacrifice or do to get it. And I think about the sacrifices that I have made to get where I am, or the sacrifices that I have made to have what I have. And, my friends and I, we say it all the time, like, girl, I could not do what you do. I could not do what you do. I could not do X, Y, and Z. I could not have the X, Y, and Z. I couldn't be married to this person. I could not have this life. And so I don't bother with envy because I don't know what you had to do to get it, and I might not have wanted to do that. For me, I think, especially with social media, I struggle with being really hard on myself, of feeling like, did I do enough? Am I doing enough? Am I being the best mom? Am I doing the best I can for my family? Am I doing the best I can in my business? Am I good enough to be here? So for me, it's the struggle with sometimes imposter syndrome. It's the struggle with self-acceptance, and that you did what you had to do and you continue to do what you have to do. Your hustle may not look like hers, and that's okay. Even if she is a mom and got 10 kids and she's able to do all the things, that doesn't mean that you have the same capacity, and that's okay. And so those are kind of the talks that like I have to have with myself so that I can focus and get stuff done, and so that I can be of use to the people that are in my life.
Just to recap real quick, your mom said you don't know, like, don't bother with envy because you don't know what other people had to sacrifice. That's beautiful.
You really never know.
That's a great
way. The best example is probably all the celebrities. Like, all this stuff coming out about people these days, and all this stuff that's like, oh, I had to do this person asked me to do that. And I think like that's a perfect example of that. Like, and I think my mom growing up, she would always be like, you never know. Like, you could see some kid who has all the things, but then also that kid's parents are never home. That kid is by themselves playing with those toys in an empty house with a nanny in another room. So the experience that you're having with your 5 toys to their 500 is very different. And so, like, you literally just don't know. And I'm like, you know what? You are so right. I'm going to stay right over here.
Right. And your mom's definitely a wise woman, and it's something I definitely try to like remind myself of that too, especially with all the crazy coming out of Hollywood. Like Shayla. And you know what? It's me not because when I moved to London, I was like, okay, I'm giving this up for. Well, I had a reason. It's crazy because the thing that I guess lit a fire under me and made me actually go to London was jealousy. Well, no, not jealousy. A feeling of envy toward another creator. And in case anyone's listening, this was 10 plus years ago. I'm not talking about anyone that I know now. But yeah, I had an envious feeling towards this creator who I didn't even know. And I remember thinking to myself, am I crazy? Like, I don't know her. Let me get my life together. And so I took a break from social media and I said, I'm going to move to London. I'm going to get a master's degree. And oh yeah, I'm going to marry an Italian. And that was the thing. Like it was for me, that's how I deal with it. I'm like, how can I improve my life? How can I like myself again? And you know what I'm saying? And that's what I do even today. So it's an important reminder. But I started realizing when the Me Too movement started that I dodged a bullet. Like I was very lucky. Because I'm a friendly person. I'm friendly and naive. And I just really feel like it could have been it could have been horrible for me. It was already difficult in Hollywood. Being a Black woman, being young, and well, especially being a woman, I already felt like, there are no boundaries here. But imagine how much worse it could have been. So yeah, I no longer envy any celebrity.
Yeah.
Anyone.
They have lives that I do not want. My goal is to build wealth, quiet wealth for my family. I don't need you to know if I finally bought my apartment building. I don't need you to know if I finally, built the lots and everything all the dreams that I have deep down inside. You don't need to know if I built my dream house. I don't need anyone to know that stuff to be okay. And that's part of what makes me feel good and keeps me focused on the journey that God has me on. Because, honey, the way these people have been dipping it and popping it and doing all the illegal things, I'm good. I'm good.
I finally learned my lesson to stop announcing my dreams and my plans because, again, people will like pray against you. They will actively be like, please let her fail. And I guess I'm less naive in that area. But yeah, I want that quiet wealth too, Shayla. I want it.
That's the goal. That's the goal. I don't need anybody to know what I have, what I'm doing, what we not doing. I just want to be over here in my corner in my own little chair, making my wine review videos and supporting my digital marketing clients and building their empires too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna need to know more, like off camera, when you have some time. I'm gonna need to know more about your digital marketing company because maybe I need to be a client.
Yes, I got you. I got you.
I'm not the business girl. I'm the idea girl. Everybody else help me out. Okay, we're winding down. I just have 2 quick things for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. Thank you once again for being here, by the way.
Yeah.
Real quick, this or that edition. I'll put a graphic up later, but real quick, this or that regarding wine. And Miss W said, like, I know you know. All right, let's start really easy.
Okay.
So, wine or beer or alcohol?
Wine.
Okay, so If you ever had to choose. Okay, on a hot summer day, it's going to be wine, right?
Yeah. Let's slushy it. Make us a
Okay.
wine slushy.
So,
I'm here for it. Look.
oh my God, wine slushy? I've never had a wine slushy. I want one.
Really? Okay, so Virginia was voted the #1 region in the world to visit by wine enthusiasts. Um, a lot of our wineries here in Virginia, because it gets so hot, they offer wine slushies. A lot of wineries here in Virginia do wine slushies.
You know what? I need to come to Virginia. I've never been to Virginia, by the way. Isn't that sad?
No, I mean, no, it's not sad. You've traveled the world. I've never been to Italy or London. So, listen, it feels like you're way ahead of me. So, it's okay. You can visit here and I'll come there. Yeah.
Let me find out. I'm gonna ask some Italians about these wine slushies. They will probably like laugh in my face, but I'm gonna ask anyway because. But I want one now. I'll drink a wine slushie.
They're
All
very
right. So we
delicious.
got red, white. All right. I believe you. I believe you. I'm gonna research this some more. So we got wine all day, every day. Wine slushie on a summer day. Red, white, or rosé?
Mm. Can it sparkle? For me, I will take anything that sparkles. I like red sparkling wines. I like champagnes and sparkling wines and proseccos and I'm trying to think. If it sparkles, I'll drink it. I like it.
Ooh, we're similar. We're similar in that aspect. Like, for me, if it sparkles, I'm happier with it. So you like a Bonarda? I'm not saying it right. Bonarda. You like a Bonarda?
Yeah.
You like Bonarda? That's kind of the only one I don't really like. It's weird. I don't know why. I don't know why.
It's
But
okay.
okay,
Look, we have
so
our
if it
favorite.
sparkles, but if it sparkles, you're drinking it. Okay, cool. So I was gonna ask champagne or prosecco, or is it the same for you?
Probably the same for me. I enjoy both. I've learned to appreciate it. Whenever I'm out to eat, I usually order a sparkling, always, and then I usually order a sparkling. I try to order something interesting that I've never had. I had a really good prosecco recently, and a really good cava recently. There's a new Spanish restaurant here in Richmond. Richmond is a food city, so if you do ever come, we are known for being foodies, and we are in the top like 15. I think that might be even the top 10 in the country. So we got a lot of interesting food here, and I
Hey,
love going to different restaurants and seeing like what wines they're proud of serving, because then I get to say, okay, well, let me try it then if you're excited about it. So yeah.
I feel like I've only ever had a cava once, and it was probably part of a wine tasting. So not even a
Oh,
full
yeah,
glass.
we have got to get you. You got to come here. You got to come visit.
I will. I'm on my way. Oh man. Okay, well that's really cool. I think I think no matter what, I feel like your taste in wine, you could fit in with any crowd. You could hang out with everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, because while I have my preferences, I will drink anything. I'll drink anything.
Same. Same. For me, except, do you know what? I feel like the only thing that I reject, ugh, I hate to say that word, but I just don't like rosé.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know why. I don't like rosé wine at all. No matter how, like, I don't like this word. No matter how expensive, I hate that word expensive, but no matter how, like, great it is, I'm like, ugh, I don't like it. I'm just not, no matter how, I'm forgetting the word that I want, but the label, you know what I'm trying to say.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to be a snob, but my wine labels are usually pretty, up there,
Mm-hmm.
top tier. So I had what was a good rosé, but I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. I don't something about rosé just doesn't sit well with me. It's ambivalent. It's like, what do you want to be, buddy? Choose. Figure it out.
I understand.
Red
I
or
can get
white.
it. I get you.
But yeah, that's the only thing. Like, if there's rosé and nothing else, I will drink the rosé. But it's never gonna be my first choice.
And that's
Last question about.
okay. Uh-huh.
Thank you, lovely. So, last wine question: young or old grape variety,
Ooh.
right?
Huh. I think it depends. I feel like I can't pick. I think it depends. I enjoy both, and I think I enjoy both. I'm gonna try it all. I'm not picking. I'm gonna try it all.
Hmm. But if you had to reach for a wine,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you're having a guest over and you want to impress that guest, what's the wine you reach for?
Probably old. Probably older
Hey,
vintage. Um, yeah, definitely.
right?
Unless
I
for some
feel
reason
like,
I've had a newer vintage and it's like outstanding. Um, maybe it's a phenomenal Beaujolais, but other than that, yeah, it'll be old.
say that word again. Phenomenal. What?
If it's a phenomenal Beaujolais.
Oh, sorry, so fancy. I love the way you said it. It just rolls off the tongue. Like,
Well, thank you. Listen, I practice this Southern girl. I have to practice and put extra effort in, but
oh no, no, it was lovely. You know what? I'm gonna look it up too because I've never actually heard of a Beaujolais, but it sounds fancy.
really. I
No, yes.
really want to have a Beaujolais party. Maybe I plan it. I'll do it in a couple years. I really want to have a Beaujolais party. National Beaujolais Day is always a few days before my birthday, and people always celebrate it the week of. I think it's like November 16th or 17th. Um, and so yeah, it is. And I've had some that I enjoy. So unless it's a really good Beaujolais or something like that, then I'll serve something old. But yeah, Beaujolais is fun.
Oh,
It's a really fun. It's fun. It's fun.
okay. Now you got me intrigued. I'm gonna look this up and figure out we got some Beaujolais over here in Europe. I want some.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Okay. Yes. Oh, I wish. Oh my gosh. I just realized something. I'm gonna let you go because we've been on for a while and you've got a life. I understand. But I just realized the last time we did this before I lost my mind, this is before you became a mom.
Yes.
It ha- yes. That's crazy in a good way. It's like how life is just life, and like you said, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
so overall, I want to say you're still Shayla. Like you're the same. It's lovely, and congratulations on your beautiful family, and
Thank
all the
you.
things that you're doing with all the things you're doing with Black Girls Wine. Congratulations with it all. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, I am at Black Girls Wine everywhere on Threads, on Instagram, on TikTok, on I'm Black Girls Wine everywhere, or Shayla Varnado. I get a little more personal on Shayla Varnado because I'm talking about my journey as a mompreneur, and a wifepreneur. And yeah, but on Black Girls Wine, you get all of my unfiltered wine and opinions on whatever's going on.
Fantastic, Shayla. Thank you so much. This was fantastic. Thank you for being my first guest on Mullen wine. I almost said Black Girls wine. This is not Black Girls. Thank you for being my first guest.
Thank you for allowing me to be your first guest. I'm honored to be here, and I wish you the best with everything with this podcast. I know it's going to be great.
Thank you so much, Shayla. We'll talk soon. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Follow the Mull and Wine podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, and you can follow us on Instagram. I'm saying us, it's just me. Anyway, follow the Mull and Wine podcast. Find it on YouTube, and you can follow the Mull and Wine podcast on Instagram. Very soon, the podcast will be available on other streaming platforms. But for now, we just got Spotify and YouTube. So bear with me.